So hi everybody, in this video we're going to introduce some introductory concepts about circles. So we are going to talk about a few line segments in and around the circle. So the first is a line segment that is called chord. Now you may be wondering, what's a line segment? A line segment is just a part of a line. It is different from a line that we are going to contrast with in a short while. So a chord is a line segment with its two endpoints on the circle. A diameter is a special kind of a chord that goes through the center of a circle. And a tangent is a line that has single point of contact with the circle. Notice this time I didn't say a line segment, because a tangent can extend to both directions up to infinity. So it's a line, whereas a line segments, they terminate. So the chord and the diameter, they are line segments. They terminate at the circle's boundary. So another couple of concepts, the minor and the major arc. So suppose you pick 2 points A and B on the circle that you can see on your screens. Now, as you extend an arc from A to B, you can clearly see it's the shorter of the two parts of the circle's boundary. So we call this the minor arc. So from A to B is the minor arc. Instead, if you go around the circle the other way, so for instance from A through the point C and then back to the point B, that is the major portion of the circle's boundary. So that is called the major arc. So the minor arc and the major arc. At this point, we are going to take a slight detour from the circle but we'll return to the concept of the circle in the next slide. So this is the concept of the areas and perimeters. So area is the space inside a 2D shape. So you're seeing two 2D shapes on your screen. Yeah, one is a square, the other is a rectangle. So all the space inside a 2D shape, it's called area. Perimeter, in contrast, is the length that we trace by walking around the boundaries of the 2D shape. So as if you start from one corner and you just walk all around this square and you reach back to your starting point, that the length that you have traversed is the perimeter of the square. And similarly, you can repeat the same concepts across the rectangle as well. So area of a square, that is the space covered by the 2D square, is just the length times the length again, because the lengths of a square are equal all around. So it's just A times A. We suppose that A is the length of one side. Now the perimeter of a square is, as I said, we just walk all around the square. So that means we covered the length A 4 times. So this is why the perimeter of a square is 4 times A. Now let's consider the rectangle. You can sort of start guessing. So area of a rectangle is length times breadth. Now this is different from a square because the length of a rectangle is different from the breadth. So because the two lengths are not equal, we mention them separately, length times breadth. Whereas the perimeter, again, we walk around the rectangle. But as you walk around, you'll see the length repeats twice and the breadth also repeats twice. So we can say that the perimeter is 2 times length plus breadth. So you can walk around the length and then you turn 90 degrees towards north and you walk across the breadth. So that is 1 length plus 1 breadth. But then after that, the same length plus breadth repeats. So this is why we have 2 times length plus breadth. And finally, we return to the areas of a circle. So this, you can just remember it. It is pi, which is a special number, times the radius of the circle squared. So radius, if you will probably remember from your school classes, Radius is just half the length of a diameter. So pi times radius square. That's the area of a circle. And perimeter of a circle is just the length all around the circle. It's also called circumference. So again, it's a special formula, 2 times pi times the radius. So you can just memorize those formulas. Now there is a special kind of a circle called the unit circle. A unit circle is a circle that has a radius of 1. Now you may be wondering, 1 what? 1 centimeter, 1 meter, 1 decimeter. Well, you have to just note the length of the circle. So the units of the circle, sorry. So you decide, just remember them. So suppose radius is 1 centimeter. Yeah. So then the area of the circumference of the circle will be 2 times pi times the radius, and radius in this case is 1 centimeter. So it's 2 times pi times 1, which is just 2 pi, and the units are centimeters. Area of the unit circle will be just pi centimeter square, because area, remember, the area of the circle is pi times radius square. The radius is just 1 and the units are centimeters. So pi times 1 centimeter square. So the answer is pi centimeter square. So the thing to remember with the unit circle is that its radius is 1, but also remember what units you were using to describe the radius. So with that, we come to the conclusion of this video around circles, and we'll see you in the next one.